The enigma of Sasquatch has captivated the imaginations of people worldwide for decades, and in turn has produced many theories as to what the creature actually is. While prevailing hypotheses suggest that Sasquatch is nothing more than an undiscovered primate lurking in the remote wilderness areas of North America, a growing body of speculative thought proposes alternative and more paranormal explanations for the elusive creature. Some argue that Sasquatch might transcend the boundaries of the natural world, speculating that it could be a supernatural entity, or even an extraterrestrial being. These theories introduce a captivating dimension to the search for the creature, challenging conventional scientific narratives and prompting a reconsideration of the Sasquatch's mysterious origins.
Hey everyone, welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. Here we are again talking about the supernatural Sasquatch theory, something that over the years I've become more and more comfortable with talking about. If you're getting into the subject of Sasquatch, if you're someone new to this topic, you probably have started out thinking, oh, Sasquatch is nothing more than an undiscovered primate. It's some sort of animalistic being and nothing more. You can compare it to the mountain gorilla in Rwanda or wherever. It's something that has remained elusive somehow for centuries. Many centuries. Sasquatch lore goes back hundreds and hundreds of years, potentially thousands of years. But through ancient cultures, ancient indigenous cultures, you know, the tales of the Sasquatch are something that resemble a supernatural entity and not just a flesh and blood creature. Yes, they do display it in instances on totems and whatnot as being something akin to a bear or some other mammal. You know, something that would lead the average person to believe that it is just that. But if you get into the stories and if you look really closely at them, you can see that there's a whole nother element and aspect to the Sasquatch. It's a supernatural being. It's something that has powers and resembles something and means something deeply to the people. There are people who say, hey, if you believe in the idea that Sasquatch is something supernatural, you're just trying to account for things that can't be explained naturally. You know, footprints disappearing and things of that nature. Sounds that you hear where you don't see where they're coming from. The supernatural theory is a great way to account for those things, and it's an easy and some would say cheap way to account for those things. Yet there are instances where people do have experiences that, you know, do seem supernatural, for a lack of a better term, you know, paranormal. But what is that? What is paranormal? What is supernatural? When you think of those words, you might assume that it's something mystical or magical or fantastic. What in reality, what it is things that haven't yet been, you know, explained by modern science. Things that can't be yet explained by modern science. If you think about a human being. We, at least myself, I believe I have a soul. I believe I have a spirit. I don't just think I'm a physical being. I don't know anybody in my life who actually believes that they're just a body with a mind. I believe there's more to me than just that. I believe I have, you know, a soul or a spirit. I believe there's a part of my being that, you know, can't really be quantified, I guess. Maybe that's not the right word, or you know what I'm trying to say. There's a part of you that is something more. You know, you're a being that can dream of things. You can create ideas in your mind. You can act on those ideas. You can create things. There's more to you than just your body. There's a whole other side of you. There's all the feelings you feel. And those feelings can't be seen. The results of those feelings can be seen, but they can't actually be seen or quantified. You know? You have dreams when you go to sleep at night. We don't even know what dreams are yet. Those are things that happen, that exist. Dreams exist. You have them. They're real. But they haven't been recorded. They can't be yet. But we know that they're real. You know, you could say that that's supernatural. It's not fully understood by modern science. My soul can't be quantified. Yet I'm pretty sure that I have one. And I'm not like talking about religion or anything like that, or spirituality or things of that nature, but I do feel like there's a part of me that is invisible to the naked eye, you know? A part of me that I feel that just can't be quantified. And I don't think I would have a very hard time convincing people that I had a soul. Yet it's really hard to convince people that there could be a side of Sasquatch that is more than just a primate, you know, more than just a undiscovered great ape. If we limit ourselves to thinking that Sasquatch is just that, we're not going to get very far, because we've been looking for this thing, utilizing methods, the same methods for decades, trying to track down this undiscovered primate that leaves footprints behind, has been visually seen in a lot of cases, has been heard, has been felt, leaves behind hair, leaves behind scat. You know, we've been trying to track down this thing, yet somehow, by some miracle, it's remained elusive. Is it so hard to believe, especially in this day and age, that there's another aspect to it that can't be explained? I've seen things in the last year and a half that I truly can't explain, and I've filmed those things. And it honestly would not surprise me at all if Sasquatch ended up, you know, having some sort of capability that we've never seen before. Perhaps that capability is, you know, shifting its frequency out of our visual or auditory spectrum. Things exist at different frequencies. You can't see sound, but it's there. It exists. Just think of a radio. Think of tuning a radio. Everything that exists in physical reality exists at a frequency. It's all vibrations. You know, it's hard to kind of wrap your head around that a lot of times. You know, you look at reality and you feel it and it seems so real. But it's actually vibrations and frequencies. And if you're thinking about a radio, you can only have that radio tuned into one station at a time. Yet all those other stations playing different things exist simultaneously, but you can't hear them. You can only hear the one that you're tuned into. You can only hear that specific frequency that you're on. That's kind of what this reality is like. It's the same with like a TV set with a bunch of different channels. You can only be watching one channel on one TV. Yet all those other channels are out there broadcasting. You're just on the one that you're turned to. So that's kind of what it's like. And that's possibly what the Sasquatch is like as well. Maybe it can change its tune, change its frequency, and exist somewhere. We just can't see it. And I've had weird experiences out in the wilderness where I'm pretty sure I've heard Sasquatch. In the one instance, we actually have a recording of it, making a whistling sound. This was recorded a couple years ago at the Alberta Habituation site. That was a really weird experience because we heard it and it was there, but we couldn't find it. You know, you have things come around that camp that do seem to have some sort of weird mystical edge, you know? It's like this thing is so far beyond what we can do. It's capable of so many more things that we're not capable of. It seems like it has heightened senses in every way. And it really is mind-blowing. A lot of people have experiences where, well, they'll encounter Sasquatch or seem to have encountered Sasquatch when they're in that weird state between being awake and falling asleep. When you're inside your tent, it's the same. You can compare it to like sleep paralysis. You know, you'll be just about to fall asleep completely and your mind will just be fully awake and you'll start seeing stuff. You'll see like what appear to be entities. I can't say exactly what that is, but from my experiences and from my research, I personally think that sleep paralysis is more than just sleep paralysis. I've experienced it a few times, and I've seen entities every time. And it really does feel and seem like something real. If you haven't experienced it before, it might be hard to wrap your head around, but I hope you don't experience it because it can be really terrifying. But sometimes people will be in that state. They'll be in their tent and something will happen. They'll experience Sasquatch. see a Sasquatch entity, or they'll feel it, they'll hear it. You can hear things, and it's not just a visible thing you see in sleep paralysis. You can also hear things. But in some way they'll experience Sasquatch. Like my friend Keenan, I posted in his interview where he talks about Sasquatch pushing its hand into the tent fabric. Well, there's a very good chance that he could have been in that state, where he was not fully asleep. His body was maybe asleep, but his mind was awake. And so his friend, who was also with him, heard something walking around that night, which, could support the idea of sleep paralysis being real, and real entities, entering this reality, shifting from their frequency to this one, and being able to walk around and make their presence known, not just to the experiencer, but to other people that are around. It's hard to say. Like I said, we don't have the abilities to record this phenomena or quantify it, really. And that's why we just put the term supernatural and paranormal on it. Now, there's also a lot of other instances where people will report UFO phenomena and Sasquatch phenomena, either at the exact same time or in very close proximity, time-wise, or in terms of physical space. And the Nordic area in Alberta has been known as like a huge Bigfoot hotspot. It's also been known as a big UFO hotspot as well. I don't know why that is. Maybe just the energy around there is good. I don't know. I don't really know. But a lot of people do report seeing strange lights, not just in the sky, but in the woods themselves. Ron Moorhead reported strange light and sound phenomena at the Sierra camp, where he recorded the famous Sierra Sound Bigfoot vocalizations, which I believe to be genuine. A lot of people don't think they're genuine. I do believe they're genuine. I've talked to Ron before. He gives me really good, honest vibes. I don't sense anything in his character that would lead me to believe that he would make any of that up. And sometimes you can just tell, like, you can talk to a person and you just know that they're being honest and truthful. And, that doesn't really hold up in court, but in my books, a lot of times, like, if I feel someone is being honest, they usually are. And that could potentially bite me in the ass in the future, but for the most part, that's how I operate. I like to think I have a good sense of, judgment when it comes to that sort of thing. But it makes you think of all this UFO phenomena. The activities, like the CE5 activities that people do, where they'll go out into groups outside and they'll practice like different meditations and whatnot, and they'll try to bring in these UFO craft to make contact. Makes you wonder if that kind of thing could work with Sasquatch, if there is this mystical side to it, this supernatural side. If Sasquatch has a spirit in the same way that a human does, if they have a soul in the same way that a human does, maybe you can make contact that way. A lot of people report the whole mind speak phenomena, where Bigfoot communicates to them telepathically. I've not experienced this myself, but apparently there's lots of people out there who have, including Les Stroud from Survivor Man. I don't know if that's an actual thing that's going on. I don't know if it's actually Sasquatch that's doing that. It could be anything. It's possible. It is possible. I'm very open-minded nowadays. After all the UFO activity I experienced and captured on video, I think anything is possible. And there's lots of people that wrote to me and wrote in comments saying that potentially the stuff I filmed in the city, all the way in the city, could have been related to the Sasquatch phenomena, especially like the orbs, the blue orbs that I filmed in the sky. I never ever got a sense that that's what that was. The idea never even came into my head. The thought never came into my head that it could be Sasquatch. Whatever that was, I did get an overwhelming sense that it was just very otherworldly and just so much, I guess, bigger than us. It just made me feel really small, kind of, and weak in a sense. Whatever these things are have capabilities beyond anything we can imagine. And they're out there. They're out there. The video speaks for itself. So I just think it's possible that with Sasquatch, because we haven't found it yet, we haven't actually discovered it, we haven't captured one, we haven't really found them yet, like, we got to be open to the possibilities nowadays. We can't just limit ourselves, limit our ways of operating out in the wilderness, limiting the ways we do research. We have to be open, and if that means going out into the wilderness and practicing really weird stuff that's considered woo, like meditating and trying to, like, I don't know, become at peace and one with the wilderness, then so be it. If it means going out into the wilderness with paranormal tools, you know, things that you would use in paranormal investigations, so be it. Try everything. I just think that a lot of experiences people have do seem to have that supernatural edge. Like the First Nations people will talk and say that this thing can, you know, shapeshift, it can disappear. They'll say things like, if you see it in a dream, it could potentially mean something significant. It could be something good. It could be something really bad. If you maybe see a Sasquatch out in the wilderness and you look it in the eyes, that could bring about something very bad into your life. You hear stories like that all the time from the indigenous people. And they've been around for thousands of years. So I think taking what they say seriously is very important. Very, very important. But that's all I wanted to talk about in today's video, is to touch on that subject. I'll probably be getting into it a little bit more and in a lot more depth in the near future. Because though I still think there is a huge possibility that Sasquatch is, you know, an undiscovered primate or being of some kind, humanoid, my experiences lately have led me to believe that there could very well be something more to it. And it's worth looking into. So things could get weird around here. They've already gotten pretty weird with all the UFO stuff. And, you know, Mountain Beast Mysteries was never really intended to be a UFO channel, but I can't help it. I'm not going to film stuff in the sky that's just crazy and not share it, because it's actually something. It's not Bigfoot related, but hey, maybe it is. Maybe it is. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on Mountain Beast Mysteries.